Before Rick and Morty, Dan Harmon created Community, a sitcom following a group of students attending Greendale Community College, starring Joel McHale, Jillian Jacobs, Danny Pudi, Yvette Nicole Brown, Allison Brie, Donald Glover, Ken Jeong, Chevy Chase, Jim Rash, and John Oliver. It was a simple sitcom premise of a found family turned friend group with a charming male main character, and it even aired on NBC's most popular weeknight. And yet the show never gained in popularity while it aired. However, even being completed for almost a decade, the show now has a cult like following because of its love and homage to film with hilarious quotable jokes and still unforgettable characters. Despite its off screen drama, it still continues to be the most relevant and one of my most loved shows I have ever seen. Welcome back to Mario Watches Everything, where we dive too deeply on shows that I love and have deemed too important. With me is our guest Johnny as we discuss one of the best shows ever created, Community. Hi, Johnny.
Hi everyone, I'm Johnny. I'm excited to talk about Community with Maria.
Perfect. So, Johnny and I initially connected over the MCU and everything Marvel. Agreeing on opinions about Phase 4 was the initial hint, but eventually we realized we shared very similar interests in TV and film. Realizing we were both community fans is when everything fell into place. You have such a knowledge of like fandoms and IPs and comics, especially. So, like, I really appreciate how you approach projects with like such nuance and research, whether we come from your own experience or like all the time and effort you put into it, especially when it comes to shows like Community. So that's why I asked you as my guest today. So I'm really excited to talk about this show with you.
I'm excited to be here just to talk Community with one of my best friends.
It's funny because we talk about the show probably daily,
We
but
talked about it yesterday. Just
literally we bring it up
because
all the
of
time.
this show, I ended up watching other episodes, which led to me messaging you about what we messaged about.
But I have to ask, like, when did you first watch the show? What led you to watching the show? And what was your first experience when watching the show?
Okay. So first time I watched the show, I still remember it. It was the Halloween episode where Britta did the psychological examination of the group, and then they're all telling their own little Halloween stories. And it's Britta's way of trying to figure out like who's the crazy one, who's the psychopath, who's the one that's gonna kill us all. I didn't watch it directly though, because I was at my friend's house. Little brother was watching it. I'm just like standing there near the passageway, just like, hey, what are you watching? I'm like, this looks fun. And at some point, I still remember this so vividly. Jim Rash's character, the Dean, but in this story, he plays the devil, bursts through a door with the chainsaw, wearing lingerie, just going gay marriage. And then from that point on, I was like, okay, I need to watch this show. And I think I found it on Netflix like a week or two later, started watching it. And it's interesting because that was my first introduction to Community. And the start of the series is so tamed by comparison.
Yeah, I was just saying that's like later season, but I also think that's a great introduction to the show.
I didn't watch the entirety of the episode, but I got enough from the episode that I'm like, okay, this is the type of characters these are. Troy's childish and wonderful and fun. Abed is very straightforward with it. Pierce is Pierce, as we'll discuss
We will
in our
discuss
episode.
Pierce in a lot of detail.
There, and Annie is just like your romanticy book girly. Who, for the record, I was actually thinking about this very quickly. Are you watching Heated Rivalry, by the way?
Am I
I
watching
just had to
Heated
make sure.
Rivalry?
Just had to make sure.
The
Dollars were
question is
going.
more so how many times have I watched Heated Rivalry?
Fair. I still need to watch it, but the reason why I brought it up, I think Annie would love the current Heated Rivalry stuff.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
100%.
I don't think you have to watch the show from season one. I think they really do fall into place where they're supposed to be by season three. I think that's when it came out. Like, well, that's the episode that you were discussing. They really fall into place as who they're supposed to be in that study group. Shirley's the sensible one. Britta is, I don't want to say like, what is Britta? What is Britta? I always ask myself who is Britta because like Loki, she's supposed to be this like love interest in the beginning because like, so Jeff is the main character, right? Like he is the one that like lied that he finished law school, so that's why he starts community college again. Britta's the reason why he joins the study group. She's his love interest, but then she becomes like this joke character that like tries so hard and is so earnest, but she's also like the butt of the joke, but she's also like the typical millennial hipster. who
Yeah,
so
like
identify with her so
I
much in
I
a
will
weird
never
way.
forget the one comment from Jeff at some point where he just goes like, "When I first met you, you seemed a lot smarter." It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
Yeah. And like that episode you brought up, she's like, I'm from New York, nothing scares me.
Yeah.
She also has a lot of leather jackets. We're going to be talking about episodes later, but like one point, like Troy's like, "You're the AT&T of people," which to
Yes.
me is the funniest burn I have ever heard anyone say.
It was God, just Troy in general with his out of nowhere comments are the best thing ever. And I'm just the fact that we know, or we don't know for a fact that that's what happened in certain episodes, but the fact that we are aware that the writer's just like, and Donald says something funny. And that's what was in the script. And probably what we get a lot of the time is just Donald Glover ad libbing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, I 100% believe that Donald Glover was definitely ad libbing. I think and this is why I bring up like some of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. There were so many times where I'm just like, there's only been 5 minutes of the show, and I think those are the funniest things I have ever heard in my life. Like, I think the funniest joke is Notches. Like, it's just the opening credit scene. It's just
Just the pure randomness is it's just amazing. It's watching Community always reminds me of what I miss about old television, honestly, because now it's all very like, here's your HBO series, your first season tells an entire length story from start to finish. It's an extended movie. Thank you, Netflix, for that. But then watching things like these is like, oh yes, this episode, here's the conundrum, here's your characters, here's this is why you like the show. This is why you keep coming back because you like to see your characters in these weird shenanigan kind of problems. And we just don't get that as much lately, do we?
Yeah. So this brings up like one of the things. So I watched Community whenever it first came out, like on TV when it was actually airing, and like it didn't do well while it was airing. It's part of the reason why there was so much drama. It's why Dan Harmon lost his job. It actually got canceled. This is why the sixth season of the movie aired. Why do you think it didn't do well? Because like we bring up HBO, we bring up Netflix, and I'm just like, well, like this is one of the reasons why we love. And you mentioned that like it reminds you of why TV used to be good. This reminds you of like old TV, but like, why do you think it didn't do well when it's like classic television?
I think, oh
When I
God.
loved it when it came out, and there were so many people that loved it when it came out. Like I never understood why people
Yeah,
didn't
that's the
like
thing.
it.
Like I hate that I can't say I watched it when it came out.
Which is,
Like
but it's fair because like I don't think
I
many
just
people did, but like I now people love it, and I'm like I don't understand why I just didn't get that audience. I still think about it now too.
I think there's like that decline towards streaming around the time Community came out, and while at it, it's like I like to think post 2008 ish, it's like this boom of content, right? Whether it be on content or sorry, not content, whether it be on cable, and then they're competing with things like YouTube for attention, right? Because like this is around the time like cell phones, like smartphones specifically, became so much more prominent because it does truly become a fight for attention. And I think that's probably where it went for Community. And also to add on to the fact, let's not forget the fact that they eventually got canceled. They got picked up by an early day streaming service, which was just Yahoo. And the fact that that Joel McHale owns this and loves to say this is the fact that they were so successful that they ended up bankrupting a streaming service pretty much before they really became popular at that.
Yeah. And I think the fact that it continues to be so beloved and it's so funny now, it just shows that like it's not because it wasn't good. It's truly because of like it has to be external factors that made it. And I think the fact that it wasn't Dan Harmon, like everyone always blames it was Dan Harmon, it was his writing. And I'm just like the fact that he has such a successful show with Rick and Morty shows that it was never him as a showrunner or his story style, because the whole story circle is literally why he's so successful now.
Hmm. And just like people like to collaborate with Dan Harmon. So I really don't think it was as much his fault. If anything, it's probably networking's not advertising things properly and everything, right?
For sure. I also can't help believe that Chevy Chase probably did have a lot to do with it too.
He's definitely the reason why Dan got fired for season 4, I
Oh,
think.
100%.
Without a
100%.
doubt. I still gotta watch that Chevy Chase documentary he put out.
We can definitely watch it. I know you had mentioned it. I have heard a lot of I've heard people say that it's going to make you very very angry. So I have to be in a very good mood to watch
So
it, or we
I
have to
had a
be.
mutual on TikTok just stitching a clip from it, just going like, "Why did you put this out? We don't want to watch this." I'm just like, I want to comment. I'm like, "No, no, no! I want to watch this. This is for me. This exists for no other purpose than for me to hate him more."
I literally think that like I think there's like two frame of thoughts. It's like why would you put more content out there because no one wants to hear from you versus like you and I which are like no we hate you so much give us more reasons to hate you.
Yeah,
Um,
that's why I really want to watch it. And on
mhm.
top of it, of course, there's the whole saying of like, "There's no such thing as bad publicity."
I really does he really think that this will make him redeemable? Is
I
what?
I don't even think he's trying to be redeemable. If anything, he's just like just doubling down.
But what would he gain from? I you know what? Why am I forgetting what
Relevancy
they understand?
for a month at best.
Probably maybe a paycheck. I'm assuming a paycheck, right?
Maybe a paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Um,
not doing Community.
Yeah. I
He's
will
definitely
say
not in
though,
that
Chevy
movie.
Chase's storyline in Community and Pierce is one of my favorite things ever because like I know you've probably heard me talk about this. It's just so funny how Pierce parallels Chevy Chase so much. Um, Especially because like we talk about the Dungeons and Dragon episode and like we were watching it for us to talk about it. I'm just like it's so funny because like I think the Dungeons and Dragon episode is very much exactly how Chevy Chase operates. Like he is just the worst. He continues to just be the worst and learns nothing and grows not at all. It just is the worst version of himself. Like here and there in episodes, they try to make Pierce a little redeemable. They make him make a bit of a moral. Like there's an episode where he ends up giving Jeff some advice eventually, or like even whenever he dies, they make him say some nice things at the end. So, like,
And then they follow up with, "Here's your semen."
yeah, here's my sperm. You're a good person. Here's all my inheritance, Troy,
Did you
and
know
my
you
sperm.
possess the heart of a hero, and that is the best thing you can ever have?
Yeah,
No. Here's your sperm.
yeah. But actually, he ends up saying the N word to Donald
And
Glover
also that.
instead. But yeah, no, it's so funny because like the joke was literally on. Like if had he just leaned into the Pierce role, it could have been one of the best arcs and characters for Chevy Chase's career.
Yeah.
Dan Harmon really actually made like kind of almost actually set him up to write a great character, did him a huge favor, but
Yeah.
instead his
He
ego,
squanders it.
yeah,
Yeah.
completely.
Because like by the like overall, I think okay, maybe I should choose my words carefully. I don't want to say that Pierce is a redeemable character, but he is a complex understand like not I don't want to say understanding actually either. Like he's a complex character that you can watch and he does evolve and change, and he is purely held back by the fact that his actor was such a piece of shit. Genuinely.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong because like if we were to actually get into it, Pierce, like I wouldn't say Shirley is his foil because like I also think that they dropped the ball with Shirley. I have a lot of things about Shirley. I have a lot of things about the female characters and Community because I think that they kind of dropped the ball with all of them because I feel like
No,
they
they
finalized.
100% do.
Yeah,
The
they feel
only
like they're
character they don't really do that with is Frankie, and that's just because she's there for for one
Frankie's
season.
awesome. Frankie's one season and she's awesome. That's all she does. She comes awesome, she leaves awesome. Love Frankie. Britta's flanderized, unfortunately. Okay, objectively, Community is hilarious when it comes to plot and Troy and Abed. And Jeff for the most part. Annie, unfortunately, is great too. Annie's for the most part great. I just hate that she's the love interest for Jeff, which we will
Yeah,
discuss.
that development
Britta's
and change towards that is very weird at first.
Yeah. And we will discuss that as well. And then we can discuss Britta's arc as well. Shirley is just like dropped as a character. But if she was
Mhm.
to be the foil of Pierce, they do redeem Shirley because she does grow a little bit until the
Mhm.
end, where they unfortunately just like I think they ruin her character, then she just leaves, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But
which was I think the reason why is because Yvette Nicole Brown had to go take care of her dad, and so it was like a
yeah,
fairly abrupt leave even for her by her standards.
yeah.
But at least she's coming back in the movie whenever they film
Which
that.
which hopefully will be this year.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And we can't even blame Donald Glover. This is all Joel McHale's fault. He says it himself. We're not just being mean and
And
hating
I
on Joel
really do
McHale.
think that they will do it this year. I do have a lot of hope.
Yeah, no, they were
But
supposed to do it during the writers and actors strike,
yeah,
but then
which that did set everything back a little bit, so that's fair. So back to Pierce, I really feel like if he's supposed to be like a representation of a boomer in community college who's trying to become friends with this younger friend group that are a bunch of millennials that he doesn't understand, it makes sense that he would be stuck in his ways and is not like politically correct, is behind in times, and is trying very hard to like keep up, but also like not be able to, and is like feeling some type of way for not being like the cool one, but also like feeling inadequate because he also was inadequate with his own father figure. So like yeah, you like you said, he's a very complex character, and it makes so much sense because it's like someone that we can actually relate to or understand because we see that kind of figure in our own society. So like it's a character that like is someone that does exist, but unfortunately, Chevy Chase doesn't do anything with it. He just takes it personally and offensively rather than recognize it's like, no, I could do something with this character.
exactly, which is just like I said, the biggest downfall. Because oh god, like even in one of the episodes we're going to be talking about, like I think he is at his worst in this episode. Like he is the most despicable. There is by the end of this episode, to an extent, there is zero redemption to be had with the character. And this is also the season that later on leads into the paintball episode, where then by the end of it, he does redeem himself. And even him as a fascinating character, he steps away from everything, which is just like like I said, he's not a stupid character. He's complex in that sense to the point that is just I is just you hate him and you love him for very different reasons.
I know. And that is Pierce as a character. And I think, unfortunately, he had to step away because Chevy was such a difficult person to work with that they almost had to force him to step
Exactly,
away.
and like I don't know if you listened to that Joe McHale book that he put out, but like, there's a whole chapter called "Fighting Chevy Chase," where he was throwing hands with Joel
Yep,
McHale and
literally.
others.
And it's funny because there's so many episodes where I actually look. There's like the episode where Chevy befriends all the elderly. I think
Oh yes, Leonard. Yeah,
it's actually really funny, and it's the whole like Britta and Jeff becoming like Chevy's parents essentially. And it's the other episode where I don't know, Shirley and Pierce be kind of like recognizing that the rest of the group don't respect them.
yeah, that they're needed, and this is the episode where Britta and Annie get into the oil fight. Right? Yeah,
Like there's a lot of parts where they could have like he could have grown in different ways, and especially in the beginning, the whole like wherever he joins the band is really funny.
yeah.
There's just so many other parts where there's another one that I thought about too. Like he's really funny in the beginning in the sense like there are so many other ways his character could have gone, but I also really like the dad episode. I know it's
Oh God, I
complicated, but it's a
I
really
hate
funny
Pierce's
episode.
dad with a passion, but he is genuinely one of the funniest out of nowhere characters.
Yeah. It,
And oh god, to a degree, I wish there was more with him just because of how fucking hilarious
yeah.
his dad is.
It really shows you like where it all comes from and like the
Mhm.
layers to it.
And
It's
just the shock that he's still alive.
worse somehow. Yeah, Pierce is a very, very complicated, nuanced character. We also will get into the death episode, which weirdly they do well, I'd say.
No, it's because I think that's also just the most endearing Pierce is, which makes sense because Pierce isn't being held back by Chevy by that point,
Exactly. That's
right?
because he's not even there.
No, he's not. He's just Pierce is coming out through Walter Goggins, who is very charming to say the least.
I have to say, like, I think towards like season 4 and 5, because Pierce is not even allowed to be on set. There's a lot of like referential to Pierce without him actually Chevy Chase actually being there. Like either he's mentioned or he's like offset, and that's like the best versions of Pierce because he Chevy Chase is literally not there.
Exactly, but at the same time, they write it in a way that is so fitting of the character,
Yeah,
right?
the essence of Pierce. Speaking of great characters, we have to talk about Dean Pelton a little bit because I also think that is
Yes.
the essence of Greendale and Community as well.
I love Jim Rash, honestly. He was it he voices the Riddler in Harley Quinn the animated series. I don't know if you know that.
Oh yeah, he does. I always forget
Genuinely
he
one of my
does.
favorite performances for that character as like a
He
comic book
really,
nerd.
yeah.
And just it truly just shows how funny Jim Rash is.
Okay, do you have a favorite pun or favorite costume off the top of your head?
Oh, okay, favorite costume evidently is like the Hunger Games look that he had. I don't know why, but that's the one that sticks out the most. And favorite gag is probably from the Halloween episode when other people are interpreting the Dean. The Dean pretending to be Jeff in the body swap episode. Oh god, why am I going with all season 4 things?
I know you really love that season. We haven't
I
talked
I
about that
don't
season.
like season 4.
I know clip episodes are like a cop out to shows, but I really love where they're like, I like, frankly, my dear, I don't give a Dean, but I also like, I really like the good news and bad news
Mm,
costume because
yes, that
just
one.
I just love his monologue of like, I have to go to the bank today. What am I
Okay,
gonna tell them?
to,
I
to
have good
add on to
news and
that
bad
as
news.
well, because this just triggered my memory, and maybe I'm changing my answers now as I'm remembering them, but it's the peanut suit one. Where the peanut suit about the faculty's checks. He goes
Yes,
off in a rap, and then just by the end of it, he's like, "I
I
don't
don't
know
know
where
what
that
that
came
was.
from. What is happening? What am I?" He just has an existential crisis
I
from
have
just dropping bars out of nowhere in the best way possible.
I have to ask, did you ever try to memorize it?
Oh God, let me see if I can remember if I can do it off the top of my head.
Wait, do you know it? I know you knew it. I knew you knew
Okay,
it.
so it's weird because like I have the tune and everything, but I don't know
Yeah.
if I have the words right. Um,
You don't have to do it off memory. I
wait,
was
wait,
just know
I'm gonna try to. I think it starts off with, "Well, I'm a peanut bar, and I'm here to say your checks will arrive on another day." And then he just goes off into the raps that I just can't keep up with.
that was a goal of mine once.
just to, we'll work on it. We'll see when we meet in person for the community movie. We'll have it memorized by then. We'll film that as content, and then there we go.
I had the obviously Donde San La Biblioteca one memorized for sure for a long time, of course.
I this is the funniest thing because I watched the series before college, and then I eventually took a class about fossils, and we addressed the genus and everything. So the second anthropology rap that they do with Betty White is something that I remember and came in handy when I did my exams for that class, actually.
That's so cute. I wouldn't think of that. So I didn't take Spanish later. Like I took it in high school and I watched Community in college. So I really
That
wish
would have
like
been
it would have
helpful.
helped. I also felt like the friend group. It made me feel very good about my friend group, and I always come back to it because I don't know. Like the whole like, oh, you're not gonna mount to anything. Britta especially now, like whenever I was struggling with med school, and even now when I consider going back to school and stuff, I'm always just like watching Britta and like watching Jeff, and the way they struggle, it just kind of reminds you that you can always just go back and like I don't know, like it's a very like wholesome show too that gives you like a reminder like there are second chances and you can always find a family anywhere, you know.
The development of everyone's character, and like knowing where they start, of course, especially for me because like I was out of high school and I went straight into post-secondary. So like in many ways I'm like, oh yeah, no, I really like this Troy guy. He was at his ace back in high school. I'm not gonna say I was like at my top tier in high school. I wasn't on the football team, nothing like that. I did theater. I was a theater nerd. I had my friend groups. I read comics. I isolated myself. I'm by no means Troy Barnes back in high school, but the transition from Troy in high school to college and knowing himself, discovering himself, becoming vulnerable within himself, but still finding comfort within the past to the point that it still uplifts him and he's able to progress as a college student. It related to me so well.
You know what's funny? Guess who I related to?
Troy.
Abed.
Oh, that's even better. See?
Someone who could relate to people through movies and TV and communicate through movies and TV. and had family that was pushing you to a certain career but wanted to express themselves through art and media, who watched TV their whole life.
And it's also inherently South Asian.
Yeah. So we have to talk about Troy and Abed.
Yes.
Favorite duo.
Favorite TV duo of all time? Only second to, in my opinion. And like if it were a competition, they would be tied, or at least are in a constant fight with JD and Turk from Scrubs.
Yes. Yeah. I would say they're very different, but yes. Troy and Abed are very. It's hard to watch them. I'm really excited about the movie because I want to see a reunion.
Exactly. We got to hear about what Troy did on his adventure and
Yeah.
everything, right?
That
So
that ending is really hard to see.
it is.
I hate
And
that
it's just,
ending.
even the episodes afterward, they're tough to watch. Not that
Yeah.
they're bad, it's just you can feel the weight of absence
Yeah.
from Donald Glover's departure.
I think this is another reason why, like, I don't disagree with you because we've talked about the seasons after like 5 and 6, and I don't
Hmm.
disagree with you that they're bad. I just like have a hard time watching them because I do feel an absence of Troy.
Hmm.
They're
And
definitely solid episodes for
yeah,
sure. It just I
and
feel like it's not the
just
same without
it's
him.
interesting because like I don't think they ever try to replace Troy like they do Shirley and they do Pierce, because in season 5 we get freaking what's his face from Breaking Bad, Buzz Hickey. There we go. We got a criminology teacher. Yeah, like he's like the Pierce replacement. Sadly, he doesn't stick around because I do like the actor. He's fun. And then eventually, we don't get another black female character, sadly, but we know we get Frankie, and they kind of substitute in Elroy as Pierce, and to also take up part of the Troy, a little bit of the Troy, I should say, and a little bit of the Shirley role because of him luckily being African American. But regardless, it's just no one ever is able to meet Troy's essence, and they never try to. And to some degree, I'm glad they don't. But to another degree, I have to question, like, what if they had? Would it still have continued the success of the series? Would it had made people bitter because they're trying to, pull on people's familiarity and comfort with another character, right?
True. When did Brie Larson join?
Brie Larson joined back when Pierce was still alive because it was when Shirley and Annie were setting Abed up for that double date.
Yeah,
Remember?
but she stuck around for a while, right?
She's only got the 2 episodes. No, 3. I think it's just the 3.
Oh, I thought she was like his like long term girlfriend for a while.
No, sadly not. I think she's only around for 3 episodes, and then we just never see her again, which is another character I would love to see in the movie.
I wish she like kind of stuck around because she was great with Abed. I feel.
Brie Larson just has excellent chemistry, and she's that was my first ever exposure to Brie Larson, by the
True,
way.
same. Yeah, I really liked her in that like in Community. Honestly,
Yeah, no, it's just like she's so sweet. I love her smile. It is such a disarming smile. I'm just like, hi. Can, I don't want to disappoint you. Like, what can I do? You know. Anyways, I'm intimidated by Brie Larson.
that's very fair. It's Brie Larson. It's Brie Larson.
Exactly. She was only around for like those 3 episodes because it's the coat check episode. There was that episode where they're Abed's trying to get her to move in with him, and I forget the other one. I feel like there's one more, but I'm forgetting it.
I really so speaking of Brie Larson, the reason why she's involved is because Abed is doing a little heist of like doing a dating classic dating height like hijinks where he's trying to date two people at once, and she's doing the classic like,
The
oh, the
best
girl like
friend, let
you
me
should
help
be,
you.
yeah, is the one right in front of you. And this brings up my reason why I love Community, and this is what kind of like unlocked my like, this is where like my origin story started of like I should have been like I should write sitcoms and I should go into like TV writing. So my favorite thing about Community is how it's basically a love letter to TV and movies, and it's the meta commentary. It's like every episode's not every episode, but a lot of episodes are an homage to a movie or a show, or they do some sort of trope. There's a lot of bottle episodes, and they do like a meta commentary, like it's a bottle episode, or they'll like if there is a trope, they'll say, "Oh, it's this trope." So this is something that I've started. They didn't really do this in season one, but they got really into it and they got into the stride with season two. Um, this was my favorite part for sure. I'm sure you definitely noticed this as well, especially being a theater, like coming from a theater background, being like, in this realm as well. And this is something that we talk about a lot in, being creatives, being on TikTok. So any favorite ones that stuck out to you, ones that you want to highlight? There's
I
a
mean,
lot. We can get into this a lot.
you mentioned bottle episodes, so
Oh,
the
there's a
two.
list. I have a list of bottle episodes if you want to get into it as
Yeah, I
well.
mean, we should do that one day. Actually,
Yeah.
just address all the bottle episodes in the series. But the two that stick out for me the most in terms of episodes is definitely the chaos theory one with the dice,
Yes.
of course,
Oh, that's a great bottle. That
which is
that is the
technically,
bottle
yeah, by all
episode.
like
Yes.
that is all, by I'm pretty sure that's by a definition of bottle episode, despite the fact that they're not in the same room. And the other one is, of course, the first bottle episode where they're looking for Annie's pen. That one is just so good. I think the reason why I like those episodes so much is because they really get into the psychology of so many of these characters. Because again, like, it shows why I love classic television in that sense. It's you have your characters, you put them into scenario, and they each react differently. And they react and they're written in ways that are entertaining, that makes you go, this is why I tune in once a week just to see what their shenanigans are. And no, it's just, I don't know, just something about seeing familiarity but in new scenarios with such funny people.
Yeah.
It's always gonna hit. The
And it's funny because
how we've diverted from that, I don't know.
and it's funny because Abe says he hates bottle episodes, but I don't know why. Maybe it's like a joke about like how maybe there's like this reputation of bottle episodes are boring because like everyone, I mean there's now this commentary like, oh, it's a filler episode, but like I don't, like you said, like I think bottle episodes are a character study, right? Like it's a way to like actually delve into a character, actually work on their character arc. Polygraphy is also a bottle episode.
Yes.
So that is one that we'll be discussing later. And then paradigms of human memory, I think, is also one, or the remedial chaos theory.
Yes. That's the one I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. The one with the clip episode is that's the one I was
Also
mentioning
that
is
one,
the other
yes.
file episode. Yeah. Community loves this file episodes.
I think it's a true testament to how skilled their writers are as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I would also say there's that bottle episode where they think Abed. It's not technically a bottle episode, but it's another clip episode. I consider clip episodes bottle episode. This is when Chang does kidnap the dean. This is when the complicated dictatorship of Chang happens. He has Dean replaced by Moby, essentially, or a Moby impersonator. And Chang is trying to tell everyone, but there is this impersonated psychiatrist trying to tell everyone that no, that Green Deal doesn't exist. You guys have actually been in a psych ward this whole time.
yes. And then we get Garrett with his normal voice. That one
And they're,
always sticks out in my mind.
and they're trying to Shutter Island the whole group.
Yeah. Oh god.
It's a
Which,
great
by the
episode.
way, I don't know if you ever watched How I Met Your Mother. Did you?
Of course I have, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to
Love
make
that
sure.
movie.
But
Yeah, yeah,
there,
yeah.
it's funny because they got Moby from How I Met Your Mother to just be fake Moby in that episode too. Or in that How I Met Your Mother episode, and then they bring it in this. It's the funniest thing because I remember watching How I Met Your Mother first, watching this, saw that, and I'm just like, is that the same guy? And then I'm just like doing all this Google searching, like, is Jim Rash in How I Met Your Mother,
I
or is
thought
it
it was
fake
Jim
Moby?
Rash in How I Met Your Mother. No, it's actually Moby in How I Met Your Mother.
It's the fake. It's the fake Dean from Community that is the fake Moby in How I Met Your Mother. And they bring back said same fake Moby for Community, who then
I am so
replaces the
dumb. I
Dean.
thought it was a third person.
Honestly, I could be wrong, but at the same time, like, that's just how it's that funny to me when looking at it, you know?
I legit thought there was like a third person that looked like all three of them.
That would have been even funnier, actually.
Because I'm like, maybe it's just like, because I'm like low key, I have like this, like, this is gonna sound terrible. I have like white ball people blindness. And I'm like, it could literally just
Honestly,
be.
that's so fair. But like they do look alike because like their heads are relatively the same shape. They
Yeah.
got the same build.
Yep.
They They both have sharp noses. When you put them together, I can tell the difference.
Yeah, I can now tell Jim Rash though from very like far away, like apart because I know Jim Rash's face very very well.
For me, it's mostly his voice.
Yes, exactly. Mostly because I've seen him dressed up in every single disguise possible because of Community. So you can pick him out from a lineup, but no one else. No one else,
Honestly,
unfortunately.
that would be a hilarious like SNL bit or something like that, where they're just like doing like a police lineup, and it's just fake Moby, Jim Rash, and if they can, just find multiple other guys that look like them.
I'm surprised like Brooklyn Nine-Nine never did this one.
Honestly, same. Or just while at it, have actual Moby in the
Yeah,
lineup as well. I don't
yeah.
know who Moby is, mind you. So it makes it a little bit funnier for me in
A
that sense.
singer.
I thought he was a DJ, which hey, it's close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
All right. Since we brought up Chang's Dynasty, we gotta talk about Chang.
Yes, we were
We've been
talking
good
about
at
that
not
last
bringing him up
night.
yet. Do we want to talk about Chang's Dynasty? Do we want to talk about Chang Nisha? Do we want to talk about his arc? Do we want to talk about what do we want to talk about with Chang? There's so much to talk about with Chang.
Let's just start off with the fact that Ken Jeong is freaking hilarious, and I'm so glad he ever got this role.
Very valid, very valid.
Right?
He's a good part. He's the big part of this show for
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
Him, honestly, just off topic. I know it's not about Chang, but I love Chang with Duncan.
Okay, okay. Also, great shout out. Great shout out. I love John Oliver
I
in this.
do too.
I love John
He,
Oliver in general, but I love him in Community. Love him in Community. And I miss him in this show. I'm so sad he's not in it more.
agree. I hope he's in the movie. I doubt he will be.
He's so famous now,
He's so
unfortunately.
famous. But in terms of Chang, oh god, Senor Chang hilarious. The carryover of Senor Chang continues to be hilarious. Personally, okay, for me, I like Chang every step of the way until Changnesia. That's the only time I don't like Chang because that's just not Chang. I honestly think that's why I just don't like Chang.
That's fair. I like the term Changnesia because I really like when he made everything into a pun.
Like the Dean, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Changnesia was so weird. Shout out to whenever Alban made everything into a documentary because it was also some of my favorite episodes. I love the Dean documentary episode. One of my favorites too, as well.
That one, oh god, I think that episode frustrated me the most though because it's just it's weird because like we acknowledge that this show gets so extravagant and that our characters are so silly and eccentric in that sense, but at the same time, I don't know why, but in my mind, the reason why I don't really like that episode is because I think the characters are a bit too stupid in that sense. And like I understand what they're going for, where like Jeff is the only one who doesn't believe it, which is why I like Jeff the most that episode. But then I'm just like, I don't like that Annie's so on board with it, that everyone else is, with the exception of Abed, of course, by the end of it.
Because
But
he's like the outside observer. My thought process is the dean is so extravagant, right? So he takes everything to the extreme. So I really like the dean's progression of like taking it too far to this extreme too, and like how it's basically him overcompensating for the school, and it's like his arc. Like it's kind of an arc for the dean because we never really get an arc for him.
no, we really, I mean, the only one I can think of is where the school board is like, "You're gay,"
The only ever
and then
time, right?
and then that whole episode is just like for the dean, it's just like I'm gay, but like I'm more than just gay.
Mhm.
What
And
I
that was
am
the
is
only
just
ever
like it's
time.
so complicated, you can't really define it, you can't really
Yeah,
express it, you know. And
yeah.
besides that, yeah, no,
And
Dean
that was a
doesn't have
good
much of an
episode
arc.
too. I really like that episode too. That's like another one that like the other time we've ever focused on the dean in a way that wasn't him obsessed with Jeff, which love that for him too. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't know, the only other time he has an arc.
When Jeff comes back from summer with aviators on,
Look at his shadow.
I don't blame the dean. I get it, but at the same time,
I love when
just
Britta's like,
him just
take
like
those off.
collapsing, like he just looked upon the face of God.
Jim Rash is a national treasure. I just need people to understand. It just there's a lot of stuff that like stands out for me when it comes to community, and most of it is Jim Rash.
Fair,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
national treasure. Okay, but back to Chang.
yes. Back to Chang. Okay, wait, no. Another version of Chang that I love that we should have seen more. Chang during paintball back during the first ever paintball episode though. It's
I love the
so
classic
sad to me
paintball.
that that version of Chang isn't brought into future paintball episodes.
I love the first paintball episode so much. I like the Star Wars homage. I like the Western, but I love that first
I
episode
love that first
so
one. It's
much.
so freaking good. And just that's also like the first time we officially see Jeff and Britta in
Yeah,
together,
you know what the
right?
first season reminds me of? The first season reminds me of low budget like indie movies.
Yes, it absolutely does.
So my favorite episode, whenever I used to get people try to get people into community, I would always show them the chicken episode where it's like the homage to mafia movies.
Yes.
It just reminds me of, like the old school like Scorsese movies. Like it just the whole scene wherever they're like Jeff like walks out of the study room and they just are kissing like Abed's like fingers or
Yeah.
something or like their
A
kid
little
like
bit of Sopranos and everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Was it Good Will Hunting? There's a Good Will Hunting moment too. It's the classic movies that you grew up watching. It's the first versions of things. It's like directors when they first took a chance on their visions. It's
Yeah.
that's what Community reminded me of, like the first few movies.
And Community also just jump started a lot of other people's careers too in the best ways in that sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think was it like Apollo 13 homage too, with like the first few, like season two, I think started that way.
The My Dinner with Andre homage and everything, right?
Pulp Fiction too.
Of course, the Pulp Fiction reference in the background of that Dinner with Andre episode.
It just in season two, like obviously they had like a little bit more. They started doing more, but like it just they and I don't like. I'm glad that they kept up with it, but like there was just something so. I think they had like a food fight at the end, like as a finale, and it's very Animal House, and it just I don't know. I get like very like I get goosebumps thinking about it because it really was just like him with a dream, Dan Harmon with a dream of like, yeah, you know what, we're just gonna do it. Like I don't even know if he had the rights to do half the stuff he did. He probably just did it.
Honestly, probably knowing him. There's the episode where like Abed's got his checklist of like classic college antics to get into, right? And those ones just really feel like, your Van Wilder films and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. I don't remember anyone doing anything like that at that time either.
No, you never really do. Or no, they never really do touch on anything, let alone take those homages that far, I think.
Hmm.
Right, there's like little references, maybe like you're from the kid's perspective and it's like the parents interrogating them, and then that's like your homage to CSI or whatever television movie kind of thing it is, but it's never like the entire episode dedicated to Nicolas Cage or something like that.
Oh my God, the Nicolas Cage. Oh, good. Okay. Let's talk about it. Okay, so we have to then eventually talk, since we talked about the early seasons and how much we loved it, we have to talk about the later seasons. An iconic moment from the later seasons, I have to admit, is the Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage episode for sure. And oh god, what else is there? There's the hot lava episode too. That's not too bad.
That's not bad. The
That's where like
Garrett's wedding
everyone takes it
episode.
way too far, which is
Yeah.
like the closest we get to a paintball episode after
Yeah.
season 4, right?
And so I was noticing because I have only ever watched seasons 5 and 6 once, and I
Mm,
rewatched again for you this time.
thank you.
Never again, Johnny.
Never again.
Maybe one more time later on my deathbed. I'm just kidding. But like, I do watch the Nicolas Cage episode again because I think that monologue is just Danny Pudi deserved an Oscar for that.
Danny Pudi deserves so many awards. Period. I
Yeah,
love him so much as a performer.
he's so funny.
Yeah,
It just never hit. It's just whoever thought of it, awards all around. Like,
legit. I want to know who wrote it, and just I would love to honestly just sit down with Danny Pudi and just go like talk us through the process of that monologue, pretty
you
much.
know he watched he studied Nicolas Cage for probably like at least a week
I was
straight.
gonna say that wasn't like Abed's madness. That was just Danny Pudi's madness coming out from watching all those
For
Nick Cage
real,
films.
for real.
Oh god,
Um,
honestly, oh god, it's just I know we're getting a movie, but like you know what, 6 seasons a movie, and maybe a short of Abed just giving his conclusions, hit or just like quick snippets of him watching new Nicolas Cage movies. Because I would
yeah.
love to know what Abed thought of like Willy's Wonderland.
I that's another thing. That's what I would really love. The only reason why I wish some of it continued was because I want to hear Abed's commentary about movies
Hmm.
now. Like I want to
Exactly.
hear Abed talk about long legs.
I would love to see him talk about long legs. I'd love to see him like even like imagine if Abed tackled like K-pop Demon Hunters or something like that.
If you had to watch Kim Marty Supreme,
Oh god, that would be very interesting. That's for sure.
I feel like he would be such an annoying film bro though. Let's be honest.
I you know what's funny? Like even in the later seasons because
Mhm.
like they roast Marvel movies, right? I
They
would love
do.
to see what Abed thinks of
Well, okay, which
MCU
Marvel
into.
movies? Because you have to remember which Marvel movies were out during that time.
So by that point, I'm pretty sure this is like early-ish midpoint of like phase 3. No, by that point Guardians of the Galaxy had definitely come out because I remember in like
They now
season
like Guardians of the
6.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Oh
So
shoot, they
like
did it. I remember
in
that
season
now.
6, Jeff goes like, like I don't care about these Marvel movies, and like also I don't believe Chris Pratt can look that good. I've seen him in Parks and Recs and everything,
Oh
right?
yeah, I do remember that joke now. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes,
So
right.
it would be interesting to because like I love Abed. I imprint an aspect of my personality
Oh
onto
yeah,
Abed,
100%.
right?
100%.
Just
Yeah.
because like he's a fan. He clearly
Yeah.
loves superheroes too. And
Yeah, because he had that
Christopher,
whole episode where they talk about origin stories and stuff.
yes, and he's also just, dressed up as Batman, went down to their neighbor's place and
Exactly.
found that he was stealing shoes, right?
That Annie, made up. Just remember.
Exactly, which also really worked out for her. But yeah, no, like I'm curious about like the reason why we would honestly, I'm surprised they never tried to like do a Joey thing with Community, like with
I think it's
Friends.
just because Dan Harmon was tired.
Yeah.
I have a lot of feelings about this. Okay, since we're talking about it, like, so 6 seasons of in a movie
Mhm.
was. Do you know the lore behind? You know the lore behind 6 seasons in a movie,
I
right? Like,
think so.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
just like a fan. It was like so the fandom, like, because everyone
We
loved
just
the
latch
show.
on to things.
Yeah, and we latched on things. The show kept getting canceled every day.
Yeah.
Like,
It was like Futurama.
yeah, like so season three it got canceled.
Hmm.
It came back for season four. Dan Hartman had to leave.
Yeah.
This is why it was the gas leak year technically. Then
Yeah.
it came back for season five in Yahoo. But then like season six came back finally. And then Abed had one point, I think The Capist was like his favorite show at one
It was
point.
the
Like
cape, yeah.
show, yeah.
Yeah.
And like he said 6 seasons in a movie. So the
Yeah.
fandom just like latched onto it.
Hmm.
So like I think it was just so hard for Dan Harmon to keep going that he just wanted to have like a show that he could keep going on it. Like
Hmm.
so he just wanted to like have his own like I think he just wanted to have like his own autonomy and authority over a show. So that's why he did it. I want a documentary show for
Legit.
Community.
I would
Yeah.
love just hearing the actors, writers, just whoever was ever involved with the series to just talk about it.
Yeah. Like I know they have recording. I've seen interviews. I know they have like videotapes of Chevy Chase. I want that documentary to come out.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, no, it's just it's interesting because I think Dan Harmon goes through that same experience of in Rick and Morty, because like there's like a quick moment where like Rick and Morty hits like a stagnant point, and
yeah.
you can kind of feel as though Dan Harmon isn't as in it.
But how many seasons are there on? Seven?
I think they're on like season 7 or 8 now,
Yeah.
right?
Because I think he signed up for 9 seasons, right?
Are honestly, God
Yeah.
only knows
I remember there was
because
a
of that whole Rick and Morty in 100 years.
yeah, I think that was a joke, but I also don't think it's a joke.
No, Rick and Morty feels very much like what Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad is
Yeah,
doing.
I think he made a contract that like I get 9 seasons or something. Like
Yeah.
I think after Community, he low key has PTSD.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, and also just like as a creative, he's very much someone who doesn't seem to just want to get bogged down by a single thing. And he would like to constantly progress and create new things and test new things out, right? So I think with Dan Harmon, you can see stagnation within his creative process, but even with me, at least in season 5 and 6, you can see where he has the sparks of inspiration where he's like, oh, I really want to do this, let's do this. And then those are some like the better things that come out from the series, like the Garrett wedding episode, I think.
Yeah. So I will say the Garrett wedding episode, now watching it with fresh eyes, I do see it as, so I was thinking that like the lava episode you brought up, Garrett's wedding episode, you can see it's like a love letter essentially, right? Like I would say the Garrett episode is more of a finale episode kind of too. Like there's
Yeah,
like,
it's the second to last episode we get before the series
yeah,
ends, right?
you would say it's like almost like a two-part finale episode. I would also even say that like the lava episode with the Pierce episode is like a two-parter goodbye episode to Donald Glover. Like I see like layers to these episodes now that these are like there's almost like it's like a duality to there's like a first part and a second part to like a longer message of saying goodbye because there's like a theme with them because like there's like it can't be goodbye so quickly, there has to be like a longer progressive finale essentially.
And like each character, I don't want to say they go through an arc, but they go through something that truly shows off who they are as characters to like really just like keep the capstone on of where this character has reached in terms of their journey, right? So
Yeah, Jeff and Annie is a really weird thing because it's like I'm not a Jeff and Annie shipper,
mhm.
but I'm glad they never made them. They didn't get them. They didn't put them together. They
There's
didn't get them.
also that God, there was like that I'm pretty sure this was the finale where Jeff is just like imagining the possible life he could have had with Annie, which I'm just like, still don't love it. As idealized as this is, which is also part of the narrative where like you're not supposed to really like it. You're supposed to just also be like, this isn't right. They shouldn't be a thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it because I definitely didn't like it. And you're right. I think that is part of it for sure. I'm glad that the finale had it that they didn't come together. I'm glad there was like a finale to that in the final finale. Yeah, I just like it was a long lingering thing throughout the series, so it was there for a reason.
In many ways, I do wish they addressed it earlier on in
Mhm.
like the seasons where it's just like, okay, cool, we're just get this out of the way. That way, by the end of the series, it's more so Jeff's individualistic relationships with other characters. Because, like, yeah, no, we get a lot of individual Jeff and Abed moments. We got this Jeff and Annie moment. Jeff has his moments with Britta. But by the end of the series, I will say Britta and Jeff's relationship is the most I guess undefined, most ambiguous aspect about it. Cause like we never really address them as characters and where they stand when it was Britta and Troy and how or like further how Britta's thoughts and emotions might have developed with Annie and Jeff as well. Right? Because like at the start of season 2, Britta and Annie are at each other's throats over it. Do they make up a little bit? Yes. But at the same time, it keeps coming back around. Is it mature? Is it real for people to move on from it? Yes. But at the same time, from an audience television perspective, I think it could have been. I think it's a point of contention in many ways that can be explored and should have been explored more. And I wish was.
That's a very mature way to look at it because it's definitely, unfortunately, inevitable to have these age gap relationships, especially in like, I guess like this community college type setting where like different age groups do end up interacting a lot. I have a niece who I obviously like. I told her to watch Community because she was like, "Oh, what's a good show to watch?" And I was like, "Community is one of my favorite shows to watch." And she was just like, "But I love Annie and Jeff together," and I was like, "That was not the takeaway." She
She's like,
was-
no, I regret this now.
and she's like, "But I'm a mature adult and I get it." And I was like, "That is not the takeaway."
how
To move
how old is
on.
this niece? Let's actually quickly ask.
She was 17 when she watched it.
Okay,
Now
see,
she's in
maybe
college, and now she gets why I was like,
there we
"No."
go. Yeah, I was gonna say like that young age where it's like you're young and you feel mature and that you can be with someone that's very mature. That there is always that aspect to it, right?
My thought process was like my 17-year-old niece, and I was like 35 when I told her to watch it. And I was like, because I was Jeff's age, and I was like, no. I was like, no.
As someone in that age, you can see the difference, and you're like, no,
I was like
no.
upset. I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Like
What have I
that.
done?
Yeah. It's like, but now she gets it. I was just like, phew. But like, yeah, no, but unfortunately it does happen. They didn't end up being canonically together. So phew.
Luckily, not.
What gets me is that Allison Brie and Jillian Jacobs are actually the same age in real life.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
found out
that's,
about that later on.
yeah, and I remember like looking it up and I'm like, but they're the same age in real life. So like why did they do that?
Yeah,
So it's also more confusing, right? So that's Hollywood, right?
that is Hollywood. And yeah, no, Alison Brie does look pretty young. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And they obviously dressed her up young and everything.
hmm And
Um,
they, make her do like, oh, yeah, no, like, just act
and
like this.
and the thing is, you're right because Britta and Troy got together and no one bats an
Also
eye.
true.
And Troy was also Allison's age. Sorry,
Annie's age. Yeah,
Annie's
they were in the
age,
same
and
graduating year.
and
Oh, wait,
like
no. No, wait. Troy's a year older.
and like what? Britta's 28. Like that's any better? Like she's still 10 years older, like 9 years older.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh, God.
it's
Oh, God. I'm now Britta's age.
yeah, like it's any better. It's not. So the show's definitely very early 2000s. Let's just put it that way.
For better and for worse.
Exactly. The show is not perfect by any means. And another thing that's awkward about it is the representation, which we can get into when we talk about the episodes itself, which we'll do in the next segment. So I think that concludes our episode of Community. We did talk about it a lot.
For now.
But
We'll come back with more, probably.
yeah, for sure, it's Community. But Johnny, thank you for joining. Where can people find you?
Y'all can find me at Marvelous Johnny on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. Just look up Marvelous Johnny. Just make sure you spell it with two L's in Marvelous, just because I'm Canadian and we spell it with two L's.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you found a little bit of yourself in my media fueled ramblings. Remember, whether it's a sitcom, a movie, or just a random moment in your day, there's always a story to connect with. You can follow the podcast on your favorite social media platforms. We're under Mario Watches Everything on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. It really helps our show. If you want to support us even further, be sure to subscribe, like, share this episode with your friends, and leave a comment. We love hearing from you. And of course, don't forget to follow our amazing guest, Johnny, on all their social media platforms. Until next time.